honorer et servir. C'est donc pour moi cette exigence de tout instant. Cet appel spontané du peuple, que je nommerai le mouvement du 1er novembre, je le perçois comme un gage de confiance, mais aussi comme l'expression d'une préoccupation quant au devenir de notre nation. Une responsabilité de faire mieux, de faire plus et d'être à la hauteur des exigences du peuple souverain. C'est une exigence qui a conduit mon engagement politique porté par la grandeur de cette nation et de ce peuple. Consolider l'unité nationale, ne jamais transiger sur la paix et la concorde civile sont le socle même de notre nation et de notre modèle démocratique. Servir, construire, consolider, c'est donc là notre viatique et c'est également notre programme.
أجدت بالتوكي تما عيدك كنيه ملاكيني بابورك جتده بيتوكي عرود سنه مكاينه بيتوه عيدك كنيه برميسيكي جيوا مرت أبونوان عيدك كنيه كتبي أحد ديسمبر السيه طبعا كيس دحوت يمات وفنا أكوك سجلم ياسدجن تما عيدك كنيه عيارت ينجلم فدا مرا ياسدجن تما كتبه فدين تامك جراك أفر تصويري أغتنك نانه إكارته كوبي كازي جديسير أنه باهين مقالو أنمه سماعك عصبا سماعي إسكول قفته واده سماعي أتستاسيون دي سكولاريتي دي إتكا فانتي بلتوه واده سماع لونم كينك فردنتاها توه نيفو كوليج أتستاسيون كينك فردنتم كالهكادو لقدك أدهيك نمال فيكي طبعا كي نماي لقديه برمي بكوبي لونم كينك فردمتاها إلا حبوه تما آدكا كانت ينقلم فدا مري عمرك لباتناي إلا سدون كي كونا كرما لونم فردمتاها تما مري تما وراكتك فردم تم قبط لكو قبط تماكي متبني بتوه انكتنيه إدارة سن يكتبينمي.
The Red Crescent of Djibouti is a humanitarian institution created in 1977 and also member of International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent. National Company of the Red Crescent Djibouti ran various programs such as training and first aid for large public in order to convey to them the necessary action of saving. The Red Crescent of Djibouti also leads a water-based program, hygiene and sanitation called WARD. The National Society of Red Crescent Djibouti, through the Restoration of Family Links program, apply oneself to help separated families following the conflict, natural disaster, or migration to restore contact. The Red Crescent, by its mission, aims to serve its most vulnerable. Ivory Jet service from exclusive terminal in Djibouti enables you to reserve 24-hour, 24 business and VIP flight to all destinations of Africa, Middle East and the world. Travel on our fleet will bring you serenity, comfort and security. All our flights are also available for your sanitary emergency evacuation to the most powerful country in the world. Ivory Jet service and the world is finally yours.
Hey, comme ma télé, Je suis le plus stylé pour les fêtes de fin d'année. Costume lumineux et programme exclusif. Merveilleux!
Pendant les fêtes les plus stylées des bouquets Canal+, retrouvez en exclusivité le meilleur du cinéma pour toute la famille.
Ça me plaît.
Des séries sensationnelles.
C'est le buzz assuré. Vraiment?
Des émissions inédites.
La température est montée de quelques degrés.
Mesdames, messieurs, s'il vous plaît, du bruit.
Ou encore les plus grands rendez-vous sportifs. Et encore plus stylé. Jusqu'au 31 décembre, le décodeur passe à 5000 francs et la parabole est offerte. Dépêchez-vous.
Situé en plein centre-ville, un personnel accueillant. Le Royal Plaza Hotel, avec ses chambres spacieuses, bien équipées, calmes et d'un grand confort. Un restaurant sous une tente de style oriental vous propose un choix culinaire oriental et occidental. Le Royal Plaza Hotel rendra votre séjour merveilleux dans cette ville très agréable.
Bien avant que tu ne naisses, j'en savais déjà beaucoup sur toi. Tout ce que je fais pour toi, c'est par amour. Et je veux te donner ce qu'il y a de meilleur. Aujourd'hui, si tu pleures pour ton premier jour d'école, je risque de pleurer encore plus.
Nouveau Nido Fortigro, une combinaison unique de vitamines, minéraux et protéines de qualité qui aide vos enfants à grandir et réussir. Ayez confiance en vous. Nido, votre amour, leur...
Hello, good evening and welcome to this 8 December 2015 English News Edition. Tonight as headlines we have the Minister of Council in which major projects were under the spot. A United Nations refugees chief says blocking Muslim refugees is fueling terrorism.
Thanks for joining us in a press release distributed December 7, 2015. The USN President is calling for a violence and insurgency in the gate of a national mobilization for the peaceful democracy while using a rhetoric of violence which imply this. The government reaffirm without ambiguity it is a determination to guarantee distribution security and to preserve public order of the opposition. The government take this opportunity to reject any spurious allegation of repression and torture taken as a pretext by the USN in order to create a political tension and social justice in our country. It's obvious that this divided opposition and who suffer from a growing lack of popular support has chosen violence as an alternative to the political dialogue. In spite of this erosion action of the opposition, the government remains convinced that the construction political dialogue remains the only alternative in compliance with the law enforces. In addition, the government reminds the opposition that our constitution guarantees to everyone the political freedom which do not call into question the social peace in our country.
Consequently, the government requires from the opposition a sense of responsibility by avoiding this inflammatory system that could cause harm to the stability of our country. Finally, the government calls the USN to continue the dialogue from the common goods of this nation. The Minister of the Council has been held today where major projects were highlighted. Let's listen to these more details.
Sous la présidence du chef de l'État, son Excellence M. Ismaël Omar Guelleh, s'est tenue la 25e séance.
The 25th meeting of the Council of Ministers was held today under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, Head of State of the Republic of Djibouti, leader of the government. During the Ministerial Council, the following texts have been approved. Creation Project Finance Law relating initial budget of the state for the fiscal year 2060. The state budget for the fiscal year 2060 is present in balance in receipt and expenditure at the same of 120,196,650,1,360 Djibouti francs. This budget is characterized by an improvement of Iceland revenue and the greater mobilization of financial resources. The Finance Bill 2060 is inscribed in the continuity of economic policy conducted by the government. As well, the government has set to achieve the objective centered around the sustainable reduction of poverty, the sustaining of the sector essential social, education and health, the productivity sector as well as the sector of the central administration. The law of finance exercise 2060 take account of the changing economic context and national and of the medium-term macroeconomic framework of 2060-2090, which envisage a real growth rate of about 7%. As its title, the permanent concern of the government is also to improve the living condition of the population by adopting appropriate strategy of real growth exclusive. Taking into account the recommendation arising from the assize of the taxation held during June, the government intends to implement the 26 set of measures aimed at stimulating economic growth, namely the exemption from tax on the salaries, in particular the lower wage to now 50,000 francs Djibouti, to downward revision of the business license of importer and the revision of the general traffic of the patent. Its tax reform will help reduce the tax pressure. Finally, the budget 2030 is placed under the sign of the strengthening of purchasing power, of the security and the prevention of good governance, and of research and development of our resources. Thus, it is a plan in 2060 the unfreezing of the promotion of the agent of the state, the restoration of the family benefit for the soldier of the army forces, Djiboutian women and national gendarmerie and the Republican Guard, the opening of door guard for policy officers, the rehabilitation of road, the program of self-construction, the promotion of a government of the new technology, the support of the launching of activity of the Commission in the fight against poverty, this kind of the civil statute. The 2060 budget aimed to sustain also the development of the geothermal energy, the sustaining of the social sector, including the full support of the school partner by the national budget. All these measures will help to consolidate the gain and the sustainable reduction of poverty. The second project is fixing the date of the presidential election and convening of the electoral college. The present draft decree has for objective to set the date for the presidential election and the convening of the electoral body in order to proceed the election of the President of the Republic. The draft decree fixed the date of the first round of the next presidential election in the country, which will take place on Friday, April 8, 2060. It also specified the opening hour of the ballot on the whole territory of the Republic. The draft decree fixed the second round of the election, if necessary, the Friday, April 22, 2060, in accordance with the Electoral Act. During this Council's Minister, major projects concerning the education sector were elaborated and discussed. Let's see with more information.
La deuxième question concerne un projet d'arrêté accordant la licence pour l'activité d'avitaillement maritime à la société Red Sea Bunkering.
For the draft decree number 3 amending and supplementing the 2053 equation MERS and defining the procedure of granting license for the import activities, storage, transport, and of distribution of hydrocarbon of the modalities of strategic stock. The present draft ordering intend to amend and supplement the decree of 2050. This project provides for the amendment of Article 31 and 39 concerning the condition of granting the license to the companies of maritime vehicle tooling. This measure is aimed on the one hand to make a clarification and on the other hand the better identify all matters relating to the condition of the grant of a license. The project number 4 is giving a maritime victualling to the Red Sea banking. The draft decree has 4 objectives to grant to the company Red Sea banking for exercise the activity of victualling maritime on the whole of the national territory. This project is intended to secure the activities of this sector. The project number 5 is granting the importation of petroleum products and the storage of the International Society of Hydrocarbon of Djibouti. The draft decree is to object to grant to the International Society of Hydrocarbon of Djibouti the importation of the petroleum project and the storage of hydrocarbon refined. The draft number 6 on the establishment organization and definition of the general regulation of the baccalaureate in the secondary education high school. The present draft decree has to redefine the condition of obtaining the organization and the regulation of the bachelor on secondary education. The reform of the general secondary education has been implemented at the beginning of the school year 2030 aim to achieve the objective of the educational system and is in continuity with the reform of basic education. This project expects to put in place the session of June 2016 a new bachelor. The adoption of this project will allow to stimulate and consolidate the achievement of the teaching medium and the conceptualize the program. Question number 7. The draft decree is to object to recognize the test of the Bachelor of General Education. This project laid down the condition for the organization of the test as well as the regulation. This reform will allow us to modernize the early test of the session 2050 and fall within the framework of the reform of education system. The draft decree number 8 for appointment to the Ministry of Health are appointed Dr. Hassan Musa Hassan, a pharmacy inspector, Dr. Salah Omar Abdullah, medicine temporary director, Hussein Muhammad Hussein, temporary general director of Piltier Hospital, Jama' al-Miyabe Ali Sabieh Hospital Director. The question number 9, nomination project decree. Minister of National Education Mr. Saeed Noor Hassan is nominated temporarily General Director of the CRIPAN. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the government spokesman Mr. Mahmoud Yusuf has made a record on the participation of the delegation led by the President of the Republic at the 60th Forum Africa-China, which was held from 3 to 5 in Johannesburg. The Minister of Equipment and Transport, Mr. Musa Ahmad Hassan, has reported on his participation on the first Congress, which was held from 25 to November 27, 2050 in Rabat. The Minister of Labour, responsible for the reform of the administration, Mr. Abdi Hussein Ahmed, made a record on its participation to the 30th Regional Meeting of Africa, the OIT, which was held from 30 November to December 3, 2050 in Addis Ababa.
The President of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohammed Ali Hamid, received this morning, Tuesday, December 8, a large delegation of elect national Japanese led by Mr. Yasutada Ohono, and whose mission is to evaluate the impact of Japanese official development assistance in favor of Republic of Djibouti. These exchanges have given rise to to extensify discussion between the various partners. The tracks of collaboration of reinforcement of existing links have been moved to a chapter including the constitution of groups of the French parliamentarians. On this occasion, the President, Mr. Mohamed Ali Hamad, had made a presentation to its House on the landscape parliamentary policy and the functioning of a National Assembly in the light of experience, pluralist outcome of the recent election, which saw the arrival in Parliament of a coalition of parties. In addition, he represents a table of a Japanese corporation to Djibouti and to point out how it's appropriated by a population Djibouti. The President Mohamed Ali Hamad stressed the level reached in the relation between Japan and the Republic of Djibouti, characterized in excellency.
This morning in the People Palace has been held the hold ceremony of the National Commission, member of the Prevention of the Fights Against Corruption. This ceremony has been chaired by the Chief of the High School, Madam Khadija Abiba, and the Attorney General of the Republic, Jama' Suleiman Ali, provided by the 60 July 2003 Act of the Article number 40, which provides for the member of the new commission who were appointed by a presidential decree in May 2040. This commission is composed of men and women who have been chosen by the people to fight effectively against any form of corruption, such as Mr. Usman Idris Jama', Abdurrahman Hassan Rayale, Vice President, Kalsuma Ahmed Ali, Hassan Mumin Dahir, Ahmed Hassan Muhammad, Adaye Nagi Housh, Khadija Ahmed Barkhadle, Hawa Jama' Idle, Ismail Abdullahi. A great hold taking a ceremony will take place under the chairmanship of the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar Gili, in the People of Palace tomorrow morning.
In the framework of direct cable project, Djibouti Telecom has organized this morning the meeting of a direct draft cable who will take place from the 7th to December of 9. The meeting took place in the presence of the Director General of Djibouti Telecom, Mohamed Assoui Bouh, his close collaborator of the foreign operator. The draft cable has been initiated by Djibouti Telecom and the operators of the region last March. In the bill brings together all the parties concerned, such as telecom operators Somalia, such as Telsam, Sam Cable, and Dalcom, Harmud, Golis, Samtel, and the Kenyan operators such as Lukwai Telecom, Tele Yemen, and Yemen Turkish Telecom, and Turkey Bright from the United States. This project has for ambition of reinforce international connectivity in the region and will enable to these operators to come connect in Djibouti. This week, two working groups have met the work who is responsible of building the architecture of a cable to define the technical aspect and the operational principle of investment and capacity sharing in the new cable. Today, the operator will invest 20 million US.
Address the challenge that market bring. I encourage all of you here to contribute and benefit from this opportunity to realize your vision, and I look forward to very productive discussion here in Djibouti.
A vast operation of elementary teacher tenure in the region of Dikhel has been carried out this week by the inspector of the MENFOP. This operation has mobilized all the inspector and trained teacher in this region, but also the distant communities such as Kurabaus and As'ela. It should be noted that this review of tenure have enabled these teacher to the basis of this region to be established in the in be pained in the context of a teacher. Also underline that a lot of rigor of a strict evaluation of skills and of the attendance are applied in this review of tenure of training a teacher. The strong mobilization of the whole basic inspector of the education and the complement team, the injured testify of the MINFOB has to enhance and to move forward in this policy to improve the quality of teaching in the educational system and more particularly in the development of the teaching staff.
And now let's move on the regional level. The leader of Kenya and Ethiopia has promised to create jobs, reduce poverty and foster trade in the respective borderlands where a conflict have intensified in the recent years. Let's listen with these more details.
Ethiopia on Monday signed $1 billion 5-year deal that will spur development and end conflict along borders of the two countries. President Kenyatta and Ethiopian Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn witnessed Kenya Foreign Affairs Minister Amina Mohamed and her Ethiopian counterpart Theodoros Adhanom inked the agreement. This is a historic function. The presence of the Prime Minister is a reminder of Ethiopia's commitments to deeper relationship between the countries and the people, said Kenyatta. Communities living along the borders will be helped to improve their living standards through trade under the deal dubbed Marsabit County, Kenya Borana, Ethiopia Integrated Zone Cross-Borders and Area-Based Program. The program, sponsored by the United Nations agencies, is focused on developing the area's untapped energy and mining resource and meat and livestock trade to create jobs for the youth. It also seeks to improve access to health, education, build social cohesion and trust between the communities.
Blocking Muslim refugees support terrorism, say a UN official. Countries rejecting Syrian refugees because they are a Muslim. Let's listen with more information.
Countries rejecting Syrian refugees because they are Muslims are fueling the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant and other armed groups. The top UN refugees official said. Antonio Guterres, a former Prime Minister of Portugal, said on Monday that such actions increase the chance of armed group recruiting followers. When people say they cannot receive Syrian refugees because they are Muslim, those that say it are supporting terrorist organizations and allowing them to be much more effective in recruitments of people, he told. Guterres, who was speaking at the launch of a record $20.1 billion UN humanitarian appeal for 2016, said he was sympathetic to government's impulse to rely on counterterrorism strategies, but added it would be an illusion to think that counterterrorism and military action alone would solve the problem. An essential part of this is to convince the potential recruits of terrorist organizations that is not the way to express their own anger or their own concern or their own perspective. The attacks in Europe may be linked to one or two people who had entered with the huge refugees influx, but it was essentially a homegrown problem that would not be solved by closing borders.
And now India, a local train ran amid foggy conditions near here today, leaving the driver of one, the train dead, on the two other injured. Let's listen with more information.
Two train accidents in eastern and north India have claimed at least 14 lives, police and railroad officers said Tuesday. A speeding train rammed into an SUV at unmanned railroad crossings in eastern India, killing all 13 people in a vehicle. Pradhan, a top police officer, said Tuesday the SUV was crossing the railroad track in Jharkhand state when it was hit by the passenger train late on Monday night. The dead includes 5 children. Pradhan said police were investigating claims by witnesses that a tire of the SUV became stuck in the track and that the vehicle was struck before people could clamber out. In a separated railway accident near the Indian's capital, the two trains collided, killing the driver of one of the trains, Nijar Sharma, A railway spokesman said at least 50 people were injured in the accident 60 kilometers south of India. India operates one of the largest railroad network with about 23 million passengers traveling by train every day. However, safety standards on the massive state-run railway network are a concern. There are nearly 15,000 unmanned crossings on India railways, and hundreds of people are killed at the crossings every year.
23 workers are still missing and presumed dead after an oil rank fire in the Caspian Sea. Azerbaijan State Energy Company said 33 workers have been rescued and 7 bodies have been recovered so far. The country's president has declared a day of national mourning. This is it for this edition. Thank you for your attention and have a great evening.
Honorer et servir. C'est donc pour moi cette exigence de tout instant. Cet appel spontané du peuple, que je nommerai le mouvement du 1er novembre, je le perçois comme un gage de confiance, mais aussi comme l'expression d'une préoccupation quant au devenir de notre nation. Une responsabilité de faire mieux, de faire plus et d'être à la hauteur des exigences du peuple souverain. C'est une exigence qui a conduit mon engagement politique porté par la grandeur de cette nation et de ce peuple. Consolider l'unité nationale, ne jamais transiger sur la paix et la concorde civile sont le socle même de notre nation et de notre modèle démocratique. Servir, construire, consolider, c'est donc là notre viatique et c'est également notre programme.
Samex Trading Company offers you a wide range of high-quality products such as tires, batteries, and spare parts. Samex install and maintain anti-fire products like fire extinguishers, alarms, and fire detectors. All our products are all guaranteed. Come benefit from our quality products and our exceptional prices. At Samex Trading, your satisfaction is our priority.
Hey, comme ma télé, je suis le plus stylé pour les fêtes de fin d'année. Costume lumineux et programme exclusif. Merveilleux!
Pendant les fêtes les plus stylées des bouquets Canal+, retrouvez en exclusivité le meilleur du cinéma pour toute la famille.
Ça me plaît.
Des séries sensationnelles.
C'est le buzz assuré. Vraiment?
Des émissions inédites.
La température est montée de quelques degrés.
Mesdames, messieurs, soufflez du bruit.
Ou encore les plus grands rendez-vous sportifs. Et encore plus stylé. Jusqu'au 31 décembre, le décodeur passe à 5000 francs et la parabole est offerte.